I think you can have all the data coming in, all the great data in the world, but if your team doesn't know how to interpret it or apply it to their everyday role, it just kind of becomes noise, right? So I think brands just need to translate insights into tools, training, and just a clear next steps that empower your people to improve the guest experience.
Welcome to Future Voices by Bolshe from SMG, the podcast where we explore the future of consumer insight, AI, brand marketing, and customer experience with the visionaries shaping what comes next. We're also proud to announce that Future Voices is an official 2025 nominee for the Young Isamar Society Award. Now in this episode, we're speaking to Ariane Guy. Ariane Guy is a senior manager of brand experience and has contributed over 15 years with European Wax Center. Her accomplishments include establishing guest issue resolution procedures, coordinating EWC participation in over 50 events. Recently, she enhanced the SMG tool to improve the guest experience, implementing new feedback channels and streamlining the guest experience survey for better insights into the in-center experience. As our inaugural guest on customer experience, we hope you'll enjoy this episode of Future Voices by Bolshe from SMG. Please welcome to the podcast, Ariane Guy. Ariane, hello.
Hey, how are you, Miss Khalifa?
I'm good, thanks, Ariane. How are you doing?
Doing great. It's a good day.
Yes, right. It's a good day to have a good day. And I hear it's warm and sunny where you are right now.
Yes, I'll take that. Yes, it is.
I'm so jealous. Being somebody who's here in South Africa, it's a cold, wet winter for us.
I'm going to send you all the good weather energy, okay?
Please do. Oh, no. Look, Ariane, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us today. As our inaugural guest on Custom Experience, it really just made so much sense to reach out to you and the team at European Wax Center just to talk to us about how you're doing it when it comes to creating those really exceptional brand and custom experiences. And the topic today, we're talking about going from first impressions to long-lasting loyalty. Really, there's no one else who's doing it like you're doing it. But for our audience members who don't exactly know who European Wax Center is, could you please give us a bit of an intro into who you are and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you gave me a great intro. My name is Ariane Guy. I am the Senior Manager of Brand Experience at EWC, also known as European Wax Center. And we began as a family-owned business, and now we are the largest provider of waxing services in the U.S. So we have over 1,000 locations nationwide, and we offer a full service of waxing services for everybody, right? We've been in business since 2004, and we've provided our guests with that first-class, consistent guest and waxing experience. And that's always been our goal when we started almost 20 plus years ago, right? We have an innovative comfort wax that nobody in the world has. We're high on a clean environment, our private waxing suites, and our professionally trained estheticians and front desk associates. So, we know everybody is different when it comes to waxing, but we're committed in servicing each one of them with a consistent quality experience from the experts at EWC. So we really are about having a 5-star guest experience when it comes to our centers.
Ooh, you see, that's what I'm talking about. 5-star experiences. That is what I want to hear. That's so great. Oh, no. And I think, as somebody who also still needs to get into the world of like waxing and like personal care, it's really great to hear a brand like EWC doing exactly that, right? You are not just only thinking about like just, you're going to look great after this wax. There's a full-on experience here that you think of, and you want to make sure you provide that quality. So that's amazing to hear. That's so great to hear. Now, European Wax Center. From what I have read up from the description you've just given us here, it's pretty clear that, it's rooted in real human touch points, right? And it's quite literal. You actually have to go somewhere to get the wax. And in a world dominated by digital, Ariane, what drives your approach in making the in-person customer experience feel so personal and consistent across locations?
Yeah, I think at European Wax Center, I think the heart of our brand is real human connection, right? And that starts and stops with our guests. They are our why. And since it's such inherently an intimate experience, you have to, and you're in a vulnerable moment, right? So we have to make it feel personal, respectful and consistent every single time. And I think what really drives that consistency is kind of twofold. It's our people and our process, right? So our wax specialists, our guest service associates, we call them GSAs, our front desk receptionists, that's our secret sauce, because they bring that experience to life with their empathy, their professionalism, and the care that they offer, right? But we don't kind of leave that up to chance because behind the scenes, we've built like a strong foundation, through service standards, training, different programs. We really want to ensure that our guests receive that high quality experience, whether they're walking into a center in California or in Florida, right? And I think sometimes people think of process as like a rigid word, but that's the opposite for us. I think with us, it helps build a framework that empowers our team to deliver that that experience confidently and consistency without losing that human element. So it
Mm.
helps us kind of scale warmth and excellence across all of our center. And I think that's how we earn trust with every single visit.
Mm. Earn trust, right? And that's exactly it. I think in the space that you're operating in, it's a personal space. It's a beauty space. I mean, I see the videos, I
Mhm.
see the girlies on the TikToks who go to your centers, and I am so encouraged to do it. But then again, I'm like, this is so personal. Like, how do I,
Absolutely.
step in? But the fact that you actually cater and really consider building that trust, I think that really is the key thing to what you're saying, right? Building that really personable but like high quality customer experience. So my next question to you is like I was saying, beauty and personal care can be deeply emotional categories, right? It's
Right,
pretty
right.
intimate. It's pretty intimate. How do you build a custom experience strategy that not only meets needs, but actually builds that trust you were talking about with your guests?
I think at EWC, our guest experience, I think, is really rooted in making the data that we get mindful and actionable for the people who are actually dealing with our guests on that daily basis. And that's going to be making that data accessible for our franchisees, our centers, our networks, those wax specialists. I think really building trust begins with understanding what matters most to the guest and then equipping our network with that information so they consistently can deliver on those expectations. Basically, with SMG, we have a lot of data, right? So we've simplified and aligned our dashboards and reports to really reflect the guest journey and the service standards in a way that's intuitive for our associates and accessible. Because if that data isn't clear, it can't be acted on. And I think that's where trust breaks down within a network. If they don't understand what this data is telling them, we're saying it's doing this, and they're seeing different results, right?
Right.
So also part of making it intuitive was showing our network, hey, here are the opportunities in our guest journey where you can, make it a little bit better and really breaking down those by our service standards.
Mm. I love the fact that you touched on data and what you were saying there, because I'm a big believer in you cannot measure what you can't track. And
Absolutely. Yes. I take
right,
that
like
one. Yes, KP.
don't quote me though. I'm not the one who coined it, but totally use it. Feel free.
Thank you.
But it's true. It's true, right? Like you need data, you need information, you need feedback in order to then act on that, create those certain strategies that will help you then improve. And from what I'm
Yes.
hearing, it's still really valuable in the space that you're operating in, right? So I guess with my next question and the fact that you were bringing up, the work you do with SMG, could you perhaps share a light bulb moment, which could be like an initiative, a campaign, maybe a piece of feedback you received, where you saw the power of great customer experience come to life in a way that either surprised you or stuck with you?
Absolutely. I started with the brand when I was 10. I tell people no, but I've been with the brand for 15 years. So I've had a privilege of witnessing, a lot of powerful moments when it comes to like guests and their experience over the years. But I think the one that like sticks with me the most was when was pretty new at EWC. I think I was like maybe a month or two in, and I was kind of still learning what truly is like a good guest experience outside of just going in and getting a service rendered, right? Like, what is it all about? But we had a guest who was came in, I think, every 2 to 3 weeks. And she hadn't been back in a while because she just had a baby. So when she walked through the doors, we were so excited. Like we were genuinely excited to see her. We greeted her by name. We welcomed her back. We did like the whole hooray thing. And you could feel the energy in the room, but from her side, the energy was she was in a different emotional space. You could feel it, right? She didn't
Mm.
reciprocate that energy. Then she went back and got service. She came out, and her brows looked amazing, by the way. But importantly, you could see that her energy had shifted, right?
Mhm.
So we asked her just like, how was everything? And she responded, this is the first time in months that I felt beautiful. And I think that moment really crystallized what we do. It wasn't just wax, right? It was that we saw her, we remembered her, we created a space for her where she could feel comfortable and could reconnect, right? Outside of recommending aftercare, we were really trying to make her feel amazing again, right? So for me, I think that was like the light bulb moment, realizing that the guest experience isn't just transactional, right? It's deeply human when it comes to EWC. And I think when it's done right, it can really leave a lasting impact.
Oh, she felt beautiful.
I said, "Ugh, you look beautiful," but feeling it and looking it are totally, and when you feel it in beauty is an eye of the beholder, but when you can come out and say that and you haven't felt that way in months, oh, I was like, that's it. That's why we do what we do.
Brand experience, customer experience, and employee experience aren't isolated. They're interconnected. But too many organizations treat experience management like separate programs, which leads to scattered data, disconnected systems, and missed opportunities. That's why a unified approach matters. And that's why we built Ignite. Ignite is SMG's purpose-built AI native platform, built to bring brand, customer, and employee experience together in one place. No silos, no lag, just complete real-time visibility across every touchpoint that matters. Ignite pulls in real-time feedback, transactions, third-party data, and behavioral signals, then processes it with advanced analytics and AI tools. From sentiment shifts to location-level performance, Ignite's AI agents analyze billions of data points, uncovering the why behind the what and telling you what to do next. And it doesn't stop at insights. Ignite connects intelligence to action, automating tasks, tracking progress, and enabling every team to improve experiences in the moment. When your experiences are unified, your impact multiplies. Happier customers, empowered employees, stronger business results. This is Ignite, unified experience management, powered by AI, built by SMG.
I need you to come to South Africa now. Oh my gosh, like that's the energy I also want when I want to like feel beautiful and take care of myself. And
Yes.
plans to expand to South Africa.
Right? I'll let the see you know that we are wanted in different. Yes, you got it.
Oh
We have
no,
a
that's
brand ambassador already in place.
yes, that's what we want to hear. Oh no, that's such a beautiful story. And I think you see what really also touches me there is the fact that you asked also like after the experience or after her treatment, like did you enjoy this? What's going on? And so I guess my question here is around, the fact that there is this process from booking to like the post service follow up or the post service experience. And so, with that in mind, how do you make sure that the brand experience stays seamless across the full customer journey, right? Like, where do you see the biggest opportunities for growth or innovation?
I think we start truly by, I think, listening to our guest and what they're saying. So SMG is a great tool, right? So we gather a lot of feedback through SMG listening channels. We have our contact us, our ratings and reviews, our in-center. So we have a holistic view of what the guest is saying through that information, but we're not just collecting that data, right? We're acting on it. So our
Mhm.
team analyzes the trends, we identify gaps, And then we translate those insights into actionable tools and training for our associates in our network. So whether it's service touch points or follow-up conversations, we focus on giving our teams these resources in real life scenarios, right? So they
Mm.
can deliver on that consistent elevated guest experience. We also have a team that goes out and they support through in-person visits to the centers. They have a lot of other things that they're reinforcing, but they also reinforce key behaviors and ensuring that we maintain brand standards again throughout the network. So it's about empowering every single center, no matter where they are, to continue to deliver on the same level of care that our guests are really expecting. And we're really learning about this from the feedback we get, right?
Mm.
Um, and I think for innovation, I think the most significant opportunity is really going to be in how we harness AI and data intelligence. You know, we're collecting so much feedback through SMG, but we have these center managers who have a million tasks to do, right? They're hiring, they're implementing new processes, procedures. So to be able to have to navigate through a full platform, pull reports, go to a dashboard, it can be kind of overwhelming. And I think that AI component gives us the power to distill that information and really to surface the most urgent insights quickly, right? So that manager can say, hey, this is what the data is telling me. This is how it's going to impact the guest experience and business performance in real time. Let me act on it. So
Mm.
that's where I see the future headed. It's just not in collecting data, but really translating it. So there's clarity in action, and I think a tool that's going to be really good is trying to understand for managers what's my next best action. I think that's going to be game changing. I think that's where AI can come into it. And I'm excited because I'm already seeing movement with SMG in that direction with all their
Yeah.
enhancements. So I'm really excited about that. So I think it's just not about, innovation for the sake of innovation, but it's really about making it easy for our associates to do what they do and really lean in to delivering that exceptional guest experience that we continue to talk about.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think I never really thought about the fact that I mean, we say it all the time, AI is infiltrating every industry. And I never really stopped to think, okay, wait, how could a company, an organization within the industry that you're in use AI? Like, it's not like you're going to replace,
Yes.
someone who's going to do my brows using ChatGPT, but hey, you actually are using it to optimize processes. You're using it to kind of think differently. And that really is why we wanted to have you on the guest. Being a future voice, you're already there, like thinking about AI. I think that's really, really amazing. So
Absolutely.
it's just a kudos to what you're doing at European Wax Center, truly. And again, like I say, please come to South Africa. If not, then I'll have to fly over and experience the
Yes,
five-star treatment that I'm hearing about for sure.
absolutely.
Ariane, this is such a great and insightful conversation. And I guess now let's talk about feedback. How do you collect and activate customer insights in a way that feels actionable and not just another data point on a dashboard?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because I think in today's world, it's so easy for guest feedback to get lost in the sea of dashboard and data points. And as I said, at SMG has a lot of great information. So at EWC, we've just become intentional about making guest insights actionable. I know I said that earlier, but it really is about not just being informative, right? So through SMG and our different listening channels, we do get a lot of information. So one thing we decided to do was think about how we could take all that information and not just push it out to our field and say, "Hey, here's the data." But we wanted to provide it in a tool that brings it to life in a sense. So we actually created our guest experience value map. So this value map basically takes the most common things and insights that we're getting from that feedback, and it basically overlays them on to a complete in-center guest journey. So it identifies key touch points and service standards from check-in to in-suite to check-out, and then it connects each one of those service standards with a measuring KPI. So, for example, we could show how greeting, standing up and greeting a guest from the GSA or the front desk influences rebooking, or how recommending a product at checkout increases your average ticket, right? So this guest
Ah,
value map has been a game changer. And it's not about overwhelming the teams with more data, but it's about giving them clarity. And this map really helps our associates understand that every interaction is really an opportunity to make a lasting impression, to build loyalty, and give that 5-star experience we've been talking about. And then also on this map, it highlights moments of empathy. So, where can I personalize a moment in this journey for the guests? What matters most to them? And so it really guides the team to lean into those areas with intention. Um, yes. And I think really overall, it bridges the gap between guest feedback and frontline action, right? So it
mm,
gives the centers a roadmap for what matters most to the guests because they're telling us this is what matters most to us, right? And so the associates can take that daily interaction and say, how can I help increase retention, guest satisfaction, and long term growth through what our guest is telling us? So that's really how we turn insights really into outcomes.
mm. I, now that you mentioned it, think of the times when I walk into an establishment and the difference between when you are greeted and when you're not, or when someone addresses you
Yes.
by your name and says, "Hi, welcome to this place, Miss So and so," versus, "Hi, welcome to so and so. Have a good time." I never stopped to think about, actually, wait a minute, it does play a role in how I'm going to be engaging not only with the experience I'm about to have, but whether or not I want to rebook the experience, whether or not I want to come back, whether I want to give a 5-star review or
Absolutely.
a star review. Ah,
Yes, and I think, and for associates having a high level, right? So and not getting so granular, but having a high level map. It's like in the visual aspect of it too. Like, hey, when I do this, this is what happens. Oh, when I, walk the guest to the and say goodbye, have a great day. This is what happens. So yeah, it really was a game changer for us.
amazing. Okay, you've just planted a seed now where I might I might just move it a little differently if an establishment greets
Right.
me or not. Oh
The
no,
little things,
Ariane.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, this has been so fabulous, and I wish I could continue this conversation for the next 5 hours. But I know we can only chat for a little bit. But
Yes,
I
yes.
guess to wrap up the episode, what are your 3 tips for brands who are looking to design that customer experience that's going to drive that long-term loyalty and not just one-off satisfaction?
Yeah, I think one is consistency and understanding your service standards, right? When we built our guest value map, we had to kind of go to a drawing board and say, um, what are our true brand expectations for a guest journey, right? Loyalty isn't built on one-off wow moments. It's built on predictable aligned experiences, right? So I would say starting by getting a crystal clear alignment on your core service expectations. What's your North Star, right? So I think really too, the pandemic shifted behaviors, assumptions of what guests may value, right? So that's why we had to go back and say, hey, this is what we're doing pre-pandemic. This is what we're doing post-pandemic. What's our true guest journey? What does that look like? So once we did that, we could start aligning internally on what our true brand experience and expectations were supposed to feel like, right? So we really wanted to get back to things that worked and ensure that everyone in our brand was clear on the service standards to really drive consistency across all of our centers and really to maintain satisfaction long term. So I think understanding your service standards in the world we are today. What's your new normal now? Um, I think another one is take the service standards that are core to your business and then check that against what your guest is telling you, right?
Mm,
So again, one thing we had to do was check what we felt was core and good about our service standards versus what the guest was telling us. So we built our value map and we had this assumption about, hey, our guests think this is most important when they come in and get service. But then we cross-referenced it to what they were actually paying for and telling us. And then that truly validated the areas that were most important. So you can have a long list of what's important to your company with service standards, but loyalty, I think, really comes from investing in the ones that your guests value the most. And sometimes, like we said, that's the high impact. Those high impact things are really simple, like a genuine smile or standing up when somebody gets greeted, right? And
Mm.
I think the alignment really lets you double down on small, consistent gestures that kind of feel effortless, but truly drive trust and affinity to your brand.
Mm.
And then I think third would be we talked about data. So I think if you make the feedback actionable for your network, right? I think you can
Mm.
have all the data coming in, all the great data in the world, but if your team doesn't know how to interpret it or apply it to their everyday role, it just kind of becomes noise, right? So I think
Mm.
brands just need to translate insights into tools, training, and just a clear next steps that empower your people to improve the guest experience, really.
Ooh, ooh. And the mic drops.
Oh, yes, we'll take it.
Oh my word, this is amazing. I mean, I walk away from this conversation absolutely. I guess maybe as a potential. I mean, I'm still scoping for my own little like personal place that I can do my waxes.
Yes.
I've never done one before, but in kind of trying to understand our conversation and who European Wax Center is, I went straight to TikTok to find all of like the content, and I was so encouraged. And
So
it
good.
was beautiful to see because I can see what you're saying in terms of the feedback and just the way that your guests speak about their experiences at European Wax Center. It's why I'm just saying, like, come to South Africa, or do I need to go all the way to California?
Yes.
Because I will.
And one thing that I think is great is that our core values at EWC are kind of from the way we treat our desks to like our corporate, like when we go in it every day, our corporate values. I think it not only rings true to what we do as a corporate team, but how we treat our guests and how we continue to take bold steps in our community and environment. But our values are we do the right thing, we delight our guests, we care about each other, and we have fun while being awesome. So I think that, like you said, like that kind of embodies who we are at EWC, and we want that to translate over into all things we do. So yes, you have to come check us out whenever you're in the States. We would
I
truly appreciate it.
will. I will. Oh, no, Ariane, thank you so much for this conversation. It was so insightful, truly delightful. And just know you have a customer in me for sure. I don't know when.
Awesome. Well, thank you, KP. We appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Future Voices by Bulbshare from SMG. To learn more, head over to smg.com, where we will show you how we can help transform insights into real-time action with purpose-built AI, thanks to our unified experience management approach. Click the link in the description to read our latest blog post, where we'll show you how brand communities help you gather fast, meaningful feedback to stay ahead of shifting customer preferences and market trends.